It's the activated AF1, and we are the Futurtarians. First and foremost, I'm going to say peace, power, and soul. Back on the cyberverse, and this first topic is going to be on cyber organic magnets. Cyber organic magnets. Once again, cyber organic magnets. See, when you're dealing with the Futurtarians, everything's going to have to be futuristic. If you stuck in the past, you keep going backwards, then, this ain't going to be for you. Because when you're dealing with the 200 fallen, the ones that fell, the first ones that was on the planet, their souls are eternal. Their souls keep regenerating. They keep reincarnating. And that with the Ethernet out, the Ethernet was put out so we can reconnect. So dealing with the cyber organic magnets. That's why I got this picture right here. I'm going to break this picture down for you thoroughly. See, when you're dealing with this picture and you're dealing with the electricity that's in your mind, that's in your body, dealing with the electrodes and the electrons, right? See, it's going to be a soulful connection. But first, to get the soulful connection, you have to have the mental connection. So the mental connection is going to be first. The soulful connection is going to be second. That's why I got this picture right here, because when you're dealing with the coronavirus, if you look at these electricity, these neurotransmitters, why do they look like the coronavirus? It's for a reason, because they're calling this what's going on right now, dealing with the Futurtarians. They're calling it a virus under the table, because they already know that the electrodes, the electrons, the plasma, and all that stuff is going to get activated. So they're trying to stop that through what? Through non-socialization. But see, with the internet out, you can socialize still. You can socialize still with the internet out. Now I'm going to break this down. I don't say everything on here, but I'm going to break this down for the reason why everybody was at home and might be home in the future is because they have to accelerate the minds. The minds have to catch up. So dealing with these computers, when 5G came out, when 5G came out, that was actually to get everybody, they was trying to, okay, there's some more intel for you teachers out there. When they put the 5G out, right, and then the coronavirus started spreading, that was to get everybody to sit down. They was trying to get the cyberverse to its peak. They was trying to get as many people on the cyberverse as possible to see how it would run with the solar flare and this plasma that's beaming through the atmosphere. They wanted as many people as possible to be on the internet, because that's where it's moving to. It's moving to that, because in the future you're gonna start seeing people talking with holograms. It's gonna get to a point. No, that's 2D. It's gonna be holograms. So you're gonna start seeing holograms. They showed you in these movies about the holograms. So that's why the neurotransmitters look like the coronavirus, because they're calling the neurotransmitters a virus. Why is it a virus? Because they already know that the 200 fallen, especially dealing with AF1, looking for the first 11. Because after the first 11 connect, it's going to be over. We're going to keep moving forward, and people mentally are going to keep slowing down. How are they going to slow down AF1? Google, Siri, and Alexa was put here for a reason. Google, Siri, and Alexa was put here for a reason. See, that's why this neurotransmitter looks like the coronavirus. Right? And also dealing with the sun, because the outskirts of the sun is called the corona. So dealing with the cyber organic magnets, because the ones that's going to be attracted to this, that's actually going to tap in, they're going to find us. And when we get to the first 11, dealing with the 11, the ones walking with the ones. Who's the ones? The first souls that was on the planet. The first souls that was on the planet, because when we sent our clones down here. We did not send ourselves down here. We was the top chain of genetics, but it wasn't when we sent. It was from the. Okay, let me get this right. 4 billion years, 3 billion years. It was. I'm trying to get the right dimension, because we don't do notes. So it's the 13 for dealing with 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'll break that down. Once I do that mathematically, dealing with the galactical code system, I'm gonna break that down more thoroughly. But yeah, that's why certain ones are gonna get connected. They're gonna get connected through what? Through the electricity. The electricity deals with magnetism and magnets. So that's how everything. When you watch that movie Hancock, I always say this: when you watch that movie Hancock, and you notice that his wife, Will Smith's wife, they always got reconnected, because that's what's going to happen when you're dealing with the electrodes and electrons. That the electrodes and electrons, they had to come here first before the planets can be formed. Dealing with the cyber organic magnets. The cyber organic magnets. And patience is, when you're dealing with patience is one thing that a lot of people don't have it. Some people do, but a lot of people don't have patience. Be patient and make sure you have the right ones. That's why it says the one. It's all galactical code system. The cyber organic magnets. Dealing with the word content. See, when you're dealing with people that's on the internet, all these people that's on the internet, and they say my content. When you're dealing with the dictionary, and you're dealing with the Webster dictionary, and you start, Googling certain stuff and looking certain stuff up in the libraries where the lies are buried. There's truth in the libraries, but there's lies in the libraries also. So when you go digging, you're digging for both. You're digging for truth and lies. And then if you're not activated, then you get stuck with lies and truth. You get stuck with both. That's why you're dealing with positive and negative. Positive and negative, they go hand in hand. That's why it's called a library, because there's truth in the library, but there's also lies in the library. Dealing with content. Content deals with Google, Siri, and Alexa. When you see people on the internet and they're talking about something that happened yesterday, that's how you know they're not part of the first 11. That's how you know they're not a part of the first 11, because they're always going backwards. It don't matter what it is. They're always going backwards. They're not tapping into the highest source. The highest source is going into the 14th dimension. The 13th dimension is about to be over with. The 14th dimension is coming. So that's why you have the 13 bloodlines that allegedly is running the planet right now, right? But when you go into the 14th dimension, you're going to have 14 bloodlines, because after that, the 1 equals the ones and the 4 equals the 4th dimension, because after that, there will be nobody else running this shit. Nobody. This is critical times right now. That's why I stopped doing videos. I stopped doing videos for a moment, because it's time to start walking and stop talking so much, though. Until we get to a certain point, then yeah, I might drop videos every day. It just depends, but everything's about timing. So when you deal with this word content, when you take that last T out, what do you have? When you take that last T out of content, what do you have? Content. Content. See, this stuff right here, you can't find in dictionaries. You can't find. This is intel. This is the Futurtarians. There's no teachers that's on the internet that's doing this. Not one teacher can do this. That's why I said when they come over here, just come humble, and we might network with you. But if you come over here and you want to debate this and that, I'll be like, why are they debating with intel and y'all still on information like that? That just makes my head just be boggled. Like, why would you even come over here? That's why they don't. Because anybody, especially a lot of these teachers that are, that got sense. What is sense? Your senses. Smell, taste, touch, sight, sound. That's your senses. That's when people say, oh, that don't make sense, because it's not activating your senses. Going back to the activation. Content. When teachers say, I'm pushing content, all they're doing is subconsciously, because everything's dealing with Siri, Google, and Alexa. They're pushing subconsciously to con you from the 10, because the 10 is the first step to the 11. And a lot of people ain't going to make the cut. I mean, it's to a point we already know that. But I have to put videos out, because There's certain people out there that still have that soul, that first soul that stepped in the second dimension. I'm gonna break that down in a minute in this video about the second dimension. But that's why content counting you from the 10, because once you go into a 9, that's why when they say 666, 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, because that's you breaking out the circle and going into a 1. So that's why they pushed it as a bad number, because they didn't want that on the planet, because they knew once that happened, then it equals protection. Protection from the source. The source is the 13th dimension right now, but we going into the 14th dimension, dealing with the upper dimensions. So that's what content means. They're conning you from the 10. How do they con you from the 10? Going back to the 808 kick drum. Okay, when you take a 9 and a 6, you put them together, what do you have? You have an 8. So when you start breaking out the 6 and breaking out the 9, they have to loop you back with a circle to put you what? Back in the 8, the loop process. They have to put you back in the loop process, because they don't want you to get because once you get to the 6, then you're going to get to the 9. So they have to keep looping you so you don't get to the 10, because the 10 is now you're a 1 and you're walking with zeros. But see, once you get to 11, it'd be the ones walking the ones. Who that? The first ones that was on the planet. The first ones that was on the planet. So that's why when they say content, because all this stuff, all these words that I'm breaking down, I'm going to say allegedly, but all these words I'm breaking down allegedly, you're dealing with Greco-Roman spells, because they got the Webster dictionary and then they got the coded dictionary. That's why when you're dealing with the age of Aquarius, when it says everything will be revealed, I'm breaking down these words and these codes like riding a bike. Because when you're dealing with the future going to play out, because if you're in the future, it's going to play out. If you're not in the future, then certain things is going to happen in your life that you won't expect, or it's going to be a sudden stuff. Dealing with content, counting you out to 10. How do you count somebody out to 10? You always manipulate the 6 and the 9 and the 8. And then the 7, they said the 7 was a lucky number. Dealing with the 7, because you notice that the 7, when it breaks, I forgot what angle that is, but it breaks in an angle, right? So when the 7 breaks in that angle, you're not going straight no more. You was going straight, but you had to make that right-hand turn. You have to make that right-hand turn. And after you make that right-hand turn, what is it? It's a dead end. And then dealing with the 6, 7, 8, and 9, it all plays a factor for content, because they're conning you from the 10. Because once you get to the 10, then you have potential to be in 11, the top of the mind chain. The Futurtarians is the top of the mind chain. There's no teacher out here that's bringing intel. My brother out in Las Vegas, Zareyas, he's tapping into the intel right now. Shout out to other brother Cosmos. Cosmos is coming and extending certain stuff, you know, on a personal, you know, family level right now. So yeah, stuff is moving forward, but we're not jumping. We don't jump when people say jump. When people ask me to do certain things or ask us to do certain things, and I'm thinking like, why would I listen to you when you're mentally beneath us? So that's when I say bow down. Their minds are so slow, they're thinking on their knees. I'm not talking about bow down on your knees. I'm talking about mentally, because either way it's going to go, this is going to happen. It's going to play out regardless. That's what I said. Come over here humble, because if you don't, we're going to eat you up like Pac-Man eat them circles up. Dealing with the circle, the 10. Content, conning you from the 10. Because after the 10, what number is that? The 11. The ones walking with the ones. The 11, and then you have the 2 dots in the middle. What is that? That's the 2 portals. That's the 11s meeting the other 11s on the other side. Because your future self has to send the intel down to your present self, dealing with this 3D realm. Why did the 200 fall in the second dimension? Because the 200, they had to match that dimension. The intellectual Newman Carber's, he had broke that down on how each dimension was 1 billion years. And he had broke that down where he said the first dimension was things. What's things? Things is the planets being formed through the electrodes and electrons. Second dimension was people. So who had to come down here? The first souls that came down here, there was 200 of them because they was in the second dimension. And then he had broke down the third dimension was another a billion years. That was places, because the people had to come down here and build. And what AF1 do? AF1 extends it. So yeah, when some people say that the 200 fallen means we're second dimensional, we were second dimensional because we came down here in the second dimension. We came down here in the second dimension, so that's why people say that. Breaking down the second dimension, see, when you're dealing with this picture right here, this is actually a picture that you can go on Google, because the only thing I Google is pictures. Pictures, somewhere to go, you know, material things. You know, that's the only thing Google and Siri and Alexa are really good for. So when I Googled this picture popped up when I Googled the second dimension. Now, what's that? That's the portal. That's the portal. And then when I read the bottom, it said porting from the fourth dimension to second dimension. That's the 200 fallen coming from the fourth dimension, because they had to go down through each dimension. They had to go down through each portal to build everything back up here. They went backwards so they can go forward into the future. That's why when I said in that video, if you're not going backwards listening to intel, what is you going backwards for? That doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense to us dealing with the senses, the six senses. So yeah, I took a little break. You know, we got some building going on over here. That's one reason why I took a break. You know, lately I got about 135, 34 videos, you know, so now it's time to build. And that's what we're doing. We building. Futurtarians. This the brother AF1. It's the brother AF1. I'm gonna hit you guys with another video Saturday, and they're also gonna be live on Spotify. We're gonna be live on Spotify Saturday, 2 o'clock Central Time. Spotify Green Room. Spotify Green Room, 2 o'clock Central Time, and also dropping another video Saturday. So yeah, you know, that's the thing. These teachers, not all of them, some of them are building. I give them credit on that. But a lot of these people that's on the internet, they moving their mouth, but they ain't moving in the 3D. And that's fine. If you want to stay at home, be a stay-at-home husband, stay-at-home wife, teach on the internet, do all that, that's fine. But you're going to fade away because you're not building nothing for the future with your bloodline, your children, because the next 14 bloodlines is going to be the last one. It's the activated Futurtarian AF1. If you like the way the world is, don't like, don't share, don't subscribe. If you want it to alter, then move at the speed of light. Peace, power, and soul.